Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Diamonds in the Rough podcast. I'm John DeAngelis, joined by Nate Quinn, and we are going to do a quick recap on Sunday's game. I know it's a little late. And then we're going to do a preview of Sunday's game. So,
Yes.
Pats lost 22-7 to Miami. And for me, I think if you watch the preview of the game, it's kind of how I predicted the game would go. So I'm not surprised at all. It doesn't change my outlook on the season. I still have them at 7-10. So I'm not like overreacting. I had them starting out 0-3. So nothing's really changed in my perspective. But what are your thoughts?
One sec, sorry.
Yeah, your internet's kind of bugging out. Well, I'll continue going. Are you good?
Yeah, just had to switch Wi-Fi. Is this my bad?
Gotcha. No, you're good. So what are your thoughts? Because I think the listeners already kind of can sense what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so I mean, it started off real good. That first drive, it looked like they were carving up the Dolphins. They couldn't do anything to stop them. It looked like, Matt Patricia was actually running an okay offense at the start, which I know a lot of people didn't expect to see, and then obviously they were right with the rest of the game. But I mean, I think that first drive just once Mac threw it up, didn't get that pass interference call, and yeah, maybe it should have been called, but it was just a dumb throw anyway. So I think he would have got bailed out with that anyway. So I think once that first drive, once they were playing so well, and then it just ended like that, it kind of just had a feeling that it was going to go bad the rest of the day. And it seemed like they could just never get anything going, really. The offensive line was shit, like everyone expected it to be. And really, I'm sick of Matt Patricia. I think I don't. We can't hit
After 1 week.
Legit, and it takes that quick. It's that quick to be done with them. I mean, you have who knows what the real reports are, but people are saying that Matt Patricia was the one who benched Kendrick Bourne for the whole game because he was made late to some meeting. Like, this is the NFL, not high school football. I get that you got to prove a point, but like, sit him for the first couple drives or something.
For the half.
Exactly. Come on. And then he comes in the fourth quarter, makes a 40-yard catch, and it's like, oh, wish we had that guy the whole game. But I mean, it was just, all in all, it was a very disappointing start to the season. But I mean, we'll see, I guess, how we go from here.
Yeah, a couple thoughts about that. I do wanna say, I can't say for every team. I know the Patriots specifically. The first 20 plays are scripted. Right.
Yeah.
They go into the game knowing exactly what plays they're going to call. So saying Patricia ran a good offense, that's probably the whole group of guys picked out those plays. So it's tough to put it on him.
Mm-hmm.
I think after the game, you saw more of what he was thinking, which I will have a rant about because it was horrendous.
Right. Yeah.
The offensive plays he was calling. I thought it was pass interference. I thought it was a good play, one-on-one coverage with statistically the best jump ball guy in the NFL. Not saying I agree with it, but statistically he is, because he lacks separation. Devontae Parker cannot get separation. He is a jump ball guy. So playing to his strengths, it wasn't the worst pass in the world.
Right. Yeah.
I'll get into Mac a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Kendrick Bourne decision, look, the meeting he missed was attendance, and he didn't miss it. He was late for it. It's like an attendance thing. It's like, are you here?
Yeah.
And yeah, he was late for it. I think it has more to do with the fighting in those practices.
That was.
I think that's what has more to do with. But again, I just think, these games are so important, and
especially the division games too. It's like,
yeah, I think if you were to try to send a message to him, there's a different way to do it than sit him the whole entire game. I say the
exactly.
whole game because when he went in, it didn't really matter.
Right.
And it made it worse
It was
that it was
already
a
over.
4-yard catch.
Just made the fans more mad. Yeah.
Yeah, because Mac, I'm not saying Bourne's the best. Well, I think he's the best wideout on the team, but I
Yeah.
understand that some people might not agree with it. What I will say is that is Mac's favorite target.
Hmm.
They are buddy buddy with each other. They really like each other. And he looks towards Bourne more often than any other receiver, I think, even though Myers is like the safety net.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's another thing too. It's just a dumb decision because this is Mac's second year. This is when you like to see that jump from guys, and to not have his security blanket, like you said, his favorite target. It's
yeah.
just it starts out his second year on just such a sour note that it's you want that guy to be comfortable, and they just made him. They didn't do anything to make him comfortable with the offensive line with that, and it's just really disappointing. Like I said.
Honestly, I thought the O line played better than I expected, which is a little sad. They weren't fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the thing. It's they weren't horrible, but it's like they definitely got to improve on some things.
so 3 things with Mac that I noted. One, everyone was mad at Trent Brown for that strip sack, the fumble. First
Yeah,
off, I want to commend the safety because the timing on what he did was perfect.
yeah,
Him creeping up behind guys was perfect, and Max snapped it as soon as he was able to get the jump.
hmm,
People are mad at Trent Brown because his job obviously is to cover the outside guy, and he didn't do that.
yeah,
I personally think that's Mac's fault in that circumstance because there are 2 or 3 guys in Trent Brown's vision that guy was hiding behind.
hmm,
He can't really see that guy. I don't think he could. Mac needs to be able to point that out to him to say, this guy looks like he's coming in. You need to block that guy, and he needs to direct the O line. That's how the Patriots system has worked, where the
yeah,
QB makes the blocking decisions. And I assume it's the same thing. So everyone was mad at Trent Brown for that. I personally put that on Mac, and that's because I hold Mac to a high standard. I'm expecting big things from him.
definitely.
Second thing that was disappointing for me, whenever he throws on the outside, the velocity is not increased. And whenever he throws on the outside, it is scary. There was one play he tried to lob it over a guy, and it should have been a pick six.
Yeah,
When most guys are just rifling that in because that lob allowed that guy to catch up to it.
hmm,
And it's just every time he throws there on the outside, scary because there's not a lot of velocity, and that's when you make picks, right?
right.
And I think there's been multiple times last year where that happened.
You got to zip it out there. Yeah, definitely.
And the final thing is, as much as he would stay after practice and work on his deep ball, it's the same thing of he needs a few more yards on the throws.
Hmm.
He needs the guys to run and get it more than have them make a play, especially when we don't have receivers who I feel like can make those plays, except Jacoby Myers Wade one that shocked me. That was a great play by him.
That was unreal. Yeah,
Um, so those are just my 3 thoughts on him. I was just slightly disappointed with him. I was more disappointed with the offensive play calling, which we can get into.
right.
But those were my 3 notes on Mac Jones, who this year heading in, my whole thing is I just want him to improve and I'm happy. I don't care about the record.
Mm.
And I didn't see much improvement, sadly, but I think it's a product of the play calling. But I'll let you go.
Right. Yeah. I think he definitely struggled a bit. Like you said, I think they just didn't really put him in situations where he could be great. I think like the offensive line, like you said, didn't play horrible, but it seems every time Dante Scarnecchia was he there last year or did he retire the year before?
Retired the year before, but he's still like involved
Right.
a
Yeah.
little bit and helps out. He's not nearly as much. He's not coaching the O line, but
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, it's just got to improve because you draft Cole Strange, who he
he
played fine in my
he
eyes.
was. I mean, I have a few guys I want to shout out for playing great. He is one of them.
Yeah, definitely. Like people made a huge deal that he got benched like in the first quarter, but I mean, after that, he was he was very good. He was one of the bright spots. Another bright spot that I want to talk about is Kyle Duggar.
That's another one of
That
my guys.
he was everywhere on the field. It seemed like. I mean, making plays in the secondary, run stopping. He was really doing everything. And a lot of people were very surprised by that pick when it happened, and I just want to give him a shout out for sure because he was great last year, and I mean he was like I said one of the bright spots definitely for that team last week.
Yeah, his tackling was incredible. He looks faster, which I didn't think
Yeah,
we could get to that point. There was one drive where I was getting so mad because he was making all these plays and they couldn't get off the field.
yeah,
And it was frustrating because I was like, do it for him. If you're not gonna do it like for the offense, do it for him because what he's doing is crazy. He seemed like the only guy who could tackle Tyreek Hill.
yeah, exactly. And
Um,
I'm excited for Jack Jones, but he had that one play where he just let it
Now,
go.
I did want to address this just
Yeah,
to say Jack Jones has been dominating second and third
yeah,
string guys, not Tyreek
exactly.
Hill, a top 10
Right,
receiver. So if we could give him some time and a little
exactly.
patience, he
He's
is
a
going to
mentor.
be fantastic. I love that guy. I love the look he has with the armbands, bringing that back.
It is nice.
Yeah, he got mossed by Tyreek Hill and it didn't look good, right?
Yeah,
I acknowledge it. I completely agree. I think the moment maybe was a little too big because in preseason, he's like the most fiery guy and all that.
he brings that energy, which I love. He's
And just the defense was great, in my opinion. I mean, the strip sacks and all of them, so they gave up 13 points. You can't complain too much. The biggest issue with the defense was the tackling,
yeah,
which I think is just a Patriots thing. The tackling usually gets better throughout the season, and the Patriots in general just get better throughout the season. So the defense was extremely intriguing to me, and Adrian Phillips went down early, and the defense seemed fine. They also had multiple clutch stops, which is intriguing.
yeah.
There were times the Patriots punted when you're like, you kind of need to go for it. We're running out of time, and then they get a 3-and-out.
Right. Yeah. It seemed like every time we needed a big stop from the defense, they showed up, and then every time we needed a big drive from the offense, they just couldn't do it. So, hopefully, like you said, offense gets better throughout the year. But yeah,
And
defense definitely showed out for sure.
I don't want to talk about the 4th and 7. We're just gonna skip
Yeah.
that. That was
Yeah.
bad. No excuse. Horrendous.
Just
Because with the time on the clock, you just had to tackle the guy. Like,
yeah.
yeah, they would have gotten a field goal, but you can't not tackle him.
Right. Yeah. He just both the safeties misplayed it, and they just or whoever it was that was on it. I don't remember exactly who was there, but
Yeah.
it was just yeah, like you said. Let's not talk about that.
Did Jabril Peppers like play? Because
I
I
think I
never
saw
saw
him
him.
in like one or two plays, but it didn't seem like he was.
He's number 3. He's easy to pick out, but I don't recall seeing him.
I feel like I might have heard his name once, but that's the only thing I can remember. I don't think he was out there very often. Which I mean, that's another guy who could bring that versatility. He can do everything out there. So I don't know
Yeah, I thought he'd get playing time when Phillips got hurt, but I didn't.
exactly. Yeah.
I'll say my offensive play calling rant, and then I will see how many plays he was in because I am curious. But
Okay. Here, I can look at that right now. Actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
way too many times where it's like 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 1, and they're going deep with it. They're
Hmm.
not extending drives. The underneath stuff was there all the time, which is Mac's strength. And it just seemed odd to me because it's like, why are we not playing to our strengths? Anytime you dumped it off to John, it was 8 to 15 yards.
Yeah.
They need to use him more. They need to use Hunter Henry more. Those are two very good weapons. And especially with the Dolphins, Ian, who is a Dolphins fan, talked about in the preview where he's like, no one can cover these tight ends.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, that is what I'm scared of. And they did not take advantage of it.
Johnu was another guy who played pretty well, I thought, and he didn't get many opportunities, but the
He's tough to
opportunity
tackle.
exactly the opportunities that he got, he did well with them. So
They didn't make many plays, and he's a guy who can make plays.
right,
And too many times the running backs' routes are just straight out. And you saw it on Miami's side where the running backs would go up 5 yards and come back, and it was open every time. I never saw that. They didn't get creative with any of the dump offs to the running backs, which when a team blitzes as much as Miami needs to be there. It needs to be there for Mac.
Yeah.
And they rarely did it. Ever. I don't really recall too many times they did do it. And then my final thought is this is just a classic Pats thing. They did it with Bolden last year. Can we stop having Ty Montgomery play so much when you have Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson? And in addition to that, Harris and Stevenson were getting 8 to 12-yard chunks multiple times throughout the game. And it was like once the strip sack happened, they bailed on everything and went, we need to throw all the time.
Right, yeah.
Or they decided to do a 3rd and 3 run up the middle with Ty Montgomery. It made absolutely no sense.
That was another thing I meant to mention is way too much Ty Montgomery. And I know he got the touchdown, but that was like he literally
He almost
rolled
messed it up too. Like
yeah. It's like and like you said, Damian Harris, he was cooking out there. Ramondre was good, but
he wasn't as good, but my point is
right. Yeah.
I would like to think you have an extremely good running back duo. You spent assets on both those picks. You know, you've made a point to keep Harris, even though you're not like looking to re-sign him, it seems like, right?
Yeah, probably not.
You know, the Patriots often like to go too much in the direction of I know what I'm going to get out of this guy than the potential. And this was an example of it where you know what you're getting out of Ty Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
Harrison, Ramondre, you know, there's kind of variability, and they wanted to go to what we know, which we know what Ty Montgomery can do. And in an offense where Harris and Stevenson need to be good for you to succeed, and there needs to be some balance, you need to use them. And then my final thing with the play calling, Mac's a relatively mobile quarterback. Why are we not doing any play action rollouts, any bootlegs? Why is there's just no mixing it up? You knew what was happening so much.
Right. Yeah. It seemed like there was just no disguising anything like that. It was just Matt Patricia, get him out of here. Come on. He can stay on the staff. He cannot be the offensive play caller. I'm done with it. 1 weekend. It's over.
I'm not that quick just because if it's not him, it's Joe Judge.
Right. So just I'd like to give it back to Bill. Like, let's see what Bill can do.
I also don't love him as a play call. I really just don't love the options.
Exactly. I think Bill might not be the best option, but I think he's the best option that we have right now. It's Joe Judge, no chance. I don't want to run another 3rd and 8 QB draw. I mean, that's what we're gonna do if Joe Judge is out there. I mean, it's just QB sneak, whatever it was last year with the Giants.
Yeah. Bill is doubling down, tripling down, however many down you can go with these guys, though. Today he mentioned if you don't like Patricia or O'Brien or Judge and they're bad, blame me because they are what we need for this team and all that. And
I guess I'm blaming Bill then.
I will say there's not a lot of coaching staffs ever that have had 3 former head coaches. I'm counting Bill as one. He's currently a head coach, but
yeah, exactly.
You know, I don't know. We'll see. It's just scary because after this year, Mayo's going to get a job.
Probably. Yeah.
And hopefully Flores can come back, I guess. I don't know.
That's the thing that can save the defense. Or I mean, not save the defense, but just save the team.
Save the overall coaching stuff.
Exactly. If you get Brian Flores back in here, which who knows? Because I mean, I think he's good enough to get a starting job again. So it's like, who knows if he wants to take another DC job? But that would be a welcome sight to bring him back. Absolutely.
And final thing is I do want to defend Bill a little bit with the coaching stuff. He went with guys he knew because McDaniels took like 5 guys from him. Mayo and Elliott Wolf, I believe, both were looking at different jobs. He lost Casario recently. Like there's been so much turnover and
absolutely
definitely can't be easy for him.
No, I'm only saying I blame Bill because he told me to, but I still trust.
I mean, it kind of is his fault, but I also don't blame him and I'm mad at him. And I'm not like some of these people who aren't Patriots fans or even are Patriots fans that are like, fire Bill, get him out of here. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Dummies, idiots.
Almost dumber than I didn't send you this text, I don't think.
I don't know, what was it?
Mike and I were arguing
Oh no.
about like because he's a Seahawks fan, which I'm actually bringing him on to talk about the Seahawks.
Great. Yeah, I mean, hey, they
Oh,
showed up.
yeah. And he was saying he just wants a new QB and a new coach. And I was talking about how that's pretty difficult to find good QBs and good coaches quick. And he was very confident that they're going to do it their first try.
What's his plan for that?
I don't know. But anyway, we got to how I was saying it's not often you win a Super Bowl with like a bad QB. And
Exactly.
he mentioned that 44-year-old Tom Brady won it.
Oh my God, the guy who threw
And
what 45 touchdowns last year.
yeah, I just couldn't. I think I told him I was like, I'm done talking for the night.
Yeah, that was a good call, I think.
But I think that's all we have for the game.
Yeah,
Shout out special teams. They're good.
I have the Jabril Peppers. Apparently, he played 18 plays, which it looks
Um,
like 11 of them might have been on special teams. So yeah,
yeah. Well, they weren't impactful, I guess.
exactly. Didn't hear his name. So
So I think that's all I have. So we can move to this upcoming game,
yes, sir.
Patriots Steelers, which I've been on record saying the Pats will start 0-3 and the Steelers will start 3-0.
Oh, hey, looking good so far.
Did not account for the TJ Watt injury. The amount of crap I got for saying the Steelers would beat the Bengals was absurd, and I'm so happy they did.
Yeah, that was a big
I'm
game.
so happy they did.
Yeah.
Um, they really tried to blow it though.
Both teams tried to blow it the whole
Well,
time.
I'm thinking like the Jamar Chase touchdown.
Mhm.
Why is the guy 3 yards off him? It like
And why is he in one-on-one against Jamar Chase on the last play of the game? It's like
I mean, I
that.
get it. It's red zone, but at the same time, it's also just like he's gonna catch it, do a PI or something. Like you just like let it happen. It seemed like.
Yeah, that was Joe Burrow. I mean, he was awful, but I mean, we're not talking about the Bengals, but he was awful to start. But hey, he led him back and almost got that dub. But you
Yeah,
were right, though.
yeah.
You
I didn't
got it.
think it would happen like that. The start of the game is more what I was thinking. When they
Yeah.
were up really early, I was like, this is what I'm talking about. And then they just
Mm-hmm.
too many teams have this thing of let's not lose rather than let's win. So when they get a lead, they get too heavy until the like waste time and stuff. And it's like there's too much time in the game for you to be doing that. But
Yeah.
about the Steelers, their defense is exactly as I thought it would be. Dominant. They get pressure on the QB all the time. They had 4 interceptions. I want to say they had like 5+ sacks. Could be wrong. They also forced a fumble.
Seemed like they were in the backfield the whole day.
It was just difficult for Cincy the whole time. And Cincy is a high-powered offense. Patriots clearly are not, as they scored 7 points against Miami, which Miami has a good defense, but it's not near Pittsburgh. So I think it's very hard to make a case that you think the Patriots will go into Pittsburgh for their home opener and win after Pittsburgh's performance.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that the Pats are favored in this game. So
I could not believe it. It's one of my locks for anyone.
I would think so, but then when you see something like that, it's
You question it, huh?
someone knows something. So I mean, maybe it's just the TJ Watt news that's scaring people off the Steelers. But I mean, if the and obviously it's a new week, new everything. But if both teams play the way that they played last week, Pats are in for a long day.
It's also just historically the Pats haven't been great in Pittsburgh. It's always been a difficult place for them to play. And similar to Miami, where Pats just chalk it up as a loss when you were going to Miami, I feel like it's a similar thing. Najee should be good to go, I
Yeah,
believe.
they said he should be good to go. Yeah.
They have a good wide receiver group.
Hmm.
Um, they have way too much of a filter on Mitch Trubisky, I think. I think they're being way too cautious with him.
I think that's fair, but I mean, it also is Mitch Trubisky, so you gotta.
It is, but look, I'm a believer in him.
I like the guy. I
I
don't
think
think
he's good. I think when you're in a Matt Nagy system, it's kind of tough. He's also like led that team to be a very good team. I don't know. I'm high on him. I thought they just handicapped him way too much for what he's at. Hopefully they take some of that away. If you're a Pittsburgh fan, for me, I hope it's a run only offense next week.
Yeah.
Although in the past, depending on the running back, the Pats haven't been good with that.
Right. Yeah. I guess we'll see how.
I'm thinking the Miami Wildcat and the Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor.
The Dontrell Hilliard 60-yard run last year.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I don't have much optimism. Honestly, you're right. Them having the Pats as the favorite with that line is my biggest optimism.
Exactly. I think the optimism I have is I've heard a lot saying that Kendrick Bourne is not going to be in the doghouse this week. I've heard that Robert Kraft stepped in or something that
He did.
they're trying. I'm hoping that it won't be a problem again this week. I'm hoping, and it sucks about Ty Montgomery that he got hurt, but I'm hoping that makes them lean more on Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, because you saw what they did to Miami last week. Hopefully they can do the same to Pittsburgh, especially obviously TJ Watt is more of a pass rusher, but I mean,
he's the heart of the defense. Well, although it might be Minkah Fitzpatrick now.
Geez,
and he's really good.
That guy, talk about a dark horse or I don't even know if it would be a dark horse for defensive player of the year. I mean, he got off to a good start for that right there.
It's him or I think the three guys, him, his teammate, I can't remember his name, had 3 sacks. And
wasn't Hayward, was it?
No. His last name began with an H.
Here, I can pull it.
It's like Herstead or something. But and I think Micah Parsons.
Highsmith.
Yep. Micah Parsons had 2 sacks, and I just think that's going to be the norm for him.
Oh yeah.
He looked really good. Sunday night. He was the only guy who looked good for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But back to this game.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers' corners is the thing you need to attack.
Definitely.
So Bourne better be playing because maybe I've heard some stuff that he takes practice as a joke, but I know he turns it on come game day.
Right. Yeah.
And you could see that by no reps. He comes in 40-yard catch, right?
Exactly.
And I know has been putting in work this offseason. He just looked faster too on that one play.
Yeah.
Than normal. So I have high hopes maybe that he can have a field day with the Steelers corners.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a classic Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick matchup. Both teams are, I wouldn't say even, but like it's another one of those where the skills line up amongst the two teams. So it'll be kind of on coaching.
Exactly. And I think another thing about Kendrick Bourne, like we're kind of talking about, he brings that energy too. He brings everyone else around him up, Mac up, like the other receivers. They just seems like everyone there likes him. So it's like you just got to use them and utilize that and utilize the weaknesses in the Steelers defense and go towards that, because it seems like last week they just couldn't take advantage of the weaknesses that they were given. And I'm just hoping that they'll learn from that, study the film, see what works. And, hopefully Vegas is right this week.
What I will say, I think if they implement some of the play calling stuff we're talking about, they have a good shot.
Yeah.
Because to me, the offense was too predictable and just didn't make sense. There's no reason on 3rd and 1 to go deep. There never is. There's no reason on 3rd and 3 to do an inside draw on shotgun with Ty Montgomery, especially. There never is.
If it's Ramondre, maybe, but come on.
If it's Ramondre, maybe. It's Ramondre and 60-mile-per-hour winds.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I feel like sometimes they make it too basic, and then sometimes they try to be too smart with it, and it's never the right time for either. It was a mess,
Yeah.
and it's got to get fixed. And let's get Mac moving. Let's not have him do the same stuff every time. If he's in shotgun, he gets it, and you hope the offensive line contains him. Did they do play action?
The Pats.
Yeah,
I mean, like a couple times maybe, but it didn't. It
I
seemed
can't
like
even recall a play action play.
seemed like every pass play was like in shotgun or something.
Yeah,
And there was so many. Again, we keep bringing up Ty Montgomery. There was so much Ty Montgomery out in the flat, which sometimes works, but when you keep running it over and over, it's not gonna work.
no, I mean, go with the strengths of your team, I would say. And I think that's the 2 running back combo and the 2 tight ends.
Definitely.
I think those are what you need to use more. And I did notice Henry seemed to be getting double teamed a good amount.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the thing, that's why I want to see Jonnu take that step this year, which he's already shown that.
he has the
I mean,
potential at least.
exactly. So I'm looking for him to have another good game with the opportunities that they give him, and I'm hoping they give him more. Another guy I'm hoping to see step up again this week is Christian Barmore, because I'm very high.
Nothing from him really.
I'm looking at his stats. The only thing on his stats is a QB hit. He had no tackles for loss. And I love Christian Barmore. I think he's going to be a beast. So I'm expecting him to take another step this week and have a big game. I think Christian Barmore is going to be a big problem for the Steelers this week.
Hopefully. As for me, I will probably be betting against the Pats until I see some stuff I start to like. That's just how I'm going to be. If the Pats, for instance, implement some of those offensive schemes I'm talking about, and let's say they do lose, I will be looking, maybe they can beat the Ravens, for instance, the following week.
Yeah.
But until I see that, I'm not, I have no reason to believe they can win, pretty much.
You get to believe it.
And I know it's week 1. I know it's early. I know they're figuring stuff out. But through training camp and preseason, this is kind of what was to be expected, honestly.
Exactly.
They didn't give us anything to be excited about other than Tyquan Thornton, but he broke his collarbone, so then there was really nothing to be excited about.
Right. It has been 1 week, but it doesn't feel like it, because it seemed like the whole preseason and training camp is the same thing, and you come out here first week, and I guess training camp matters,
Yeah.
Preseason matters, and to an extent, but yeah, hopefully they take those negatives that happened last week, they take some of the positives, the few positives, and build on that. And Bill Belichick's gonna have a game plan put together, so I'm just hoping it goes a lot better this week for sure.
Hopefully. Well, that's all I got, unless you got anything to add.
Nope, I think that's it. I think we covered it.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens Sunday, I guess. But thank you everyone for listening. Nate will come back on Sunday after the game to give some post-game thoughts.
Oh yeah,
Maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, somewhere around that range.
Hopefully
we're excited.
Yeah, hopefully a lot better recap than this week.
Yeah. I'm hoping to do the recaps Sunday after the game. This week, Ian had some conflicts, so we weren't able to get it done.
Yep.
But yeah, hopefully we have better stuff to talk about than just frustration this week.
Yes, sir.
Thank you everyone for listening. Tune in next time.